We're going to discuss integrity and copyright today. So first, I want you to take just a moment and I want you to think about what is integrity. Come up with some answer in your head about what you think integrity is. Now, hold on to that thought as we watch this video.
Integrity is being truthful, taking responsibility for the things you commit to, doing what you say you're going to do, and just being true to oneself. That is what integrity means to me.
Integrity for me is definitely being loyal. I'm a loyal person. I'm loyal to my friends, my family. I give my word to people.
If I call for love, I have to give love. If I call for honesty, I have to give honesty. If I call for truth, I have to be truthful.
I think it's very important for someone to be confident in who they are because it contributes to a strong community when people are confident in each other and for each other.
I think a lot of humans would probably think about that as well because it's face to face, you always say, we'll do something for someone, or I'll be there for you, or I'll go see this show, and you do that, and that's really important.
Integrity is to be able to be honest with yourself, to be able to face the truth, to be able to be a decent man, be a decent woman, be a decent person, human being nice, smiling.
So integrity to me is I ask for what I get.
So, how do you know if someone has integrity? Take a moment and think to yourself, people that you think that have integrity, what kind of traits do they have? All right, I hope you have some answers in your head, and we are going to move on. So this video here, I'm going to pause it a couple of times. But let's take a look at what is presented at a lot of universities for integrity.
Integrity. What is it? It means acting with honesty and doing the right thing even when nobody is watching. One example of acting with integrity is finding money on the floor of a supermarket and instead of keeping it, giving it to the supermarket attendant in case the person who lost it comes back to look for it. So, what is academic integrity? It means acting with honesty, truth, fairness, and respect in your academic work, doing your own work, and always referencing the work of others.
So, that's a good definition for academic integrity, but it doesn't mention much about the integrity that we would want to practice in the art classroom. So, what do you think academic integrity looks like in an art classroom?
The opposite of academic integrity is academic dishonesty, and it means participating in dishonest academic actions and may include cheating, plagiarism, or other forms of academic dishonesty. Let's look at some examples of academic dishonesty. Copying answers on a test, quiz, or other assignment from somebody else. doing somebody else's work for them. Giving somebody the test or quiz answers, or getting the answers from somebody in advance. Or paying somebody to do your work for you.
So, again, lots of examples there that look like they relate to more core subjects. So what I want you to think about is, what are some examples of academic dishonesty in the art classroom?
So, what is plagiarism? It is copying the work of others and presenting it as your own original work. This is one example of plagiarism. Buying papers online, copying and pasting from the internet and rearranging words and sentences, using information without referencing it, paying others to do your work, or reusing somebody else's work are all considered plagiarism. Remember, information you use from any source must always be referenced in your work, even if it's a friend's idea, a sentence from the internet, or a verse from your favorite song. In some cultures, copying another author's words is widely accepted and even considered a compliment to the author. But in the US, you show respect for other people's work by always referencing the author of the work. Not doing so is considered cheating, stealing, and is a very serious offense. If you are caught, you can fail the assignment, the course, or even get suspended or expelled from the university. Let's talk about group work because it's kind of tricky. With group work, each person must submit their own original work, even if the answer is the same. With group work, you do want to help each other find the answer or information together, but you don't want to copy from each other or submit the same work.
So, how would you approach group work in an art classroom so that everyone's finished project is unique, keeping in mind that in our art classroom, we don't actually create a group assignment where there's a single assignment. Everybody would create their own assignment, but you might work together to come up with ideas and what you would do. So how would you approach group work in an art classroom?
So what should you do? Understand the rules on cheating, plagiarism, and other forms of academic dishonesty. Learn how to reference the work of others properly. And understand the rules in each class. Your instructors may have different rules, but those rules will be written in the course syllabus. And if you ever have doubts, remember you can always ask. So you have choices. Use campus resources like the Writing Center. Manage your time wisely. Talk to your instructors. And most importantly, learn and respect the rules. Acting honestly in your academic work will prepare you for success in your personal and professional future. And when you receive your diploma, you will be confident that the skills and knowledge that you earned really belong to you. And wherever life takes you, the people you interact with will respect the honesty that you practiced in your academic life.
All right, so we're going to take a look at copyright now. Copyright is very important in the art classroom.
In today's digital world, it's easier than ever to copy, paste, mash up, remix, download, and publish content. People's writing, artwork, videos, and images can be inspiring, but they're also easy to take without thinking twice. When people treat the internet like a free-for-all, legal and ethical situations can arise. That's why it's important to know about copyright and fair use. It would help you give and receive credit where credit is due. So what's a copyright? Copyright law protects your control over the creative work you make. It requires people to get your permission before they copy, rework, or share what you make. Most things that you find, download, and copy and paste from the internet are copyrighted. That doesn't mean that everything online is on lockdown and can't be used. It can, as long as you check who owns it, get permission to use it, give credit to the creator, buy it if necessary, and use it responsibly, then you're not stealing. Now, there are times when you can use a small part of someone else's copyrighted work without permission or paying a fee. This is called fair use. Fair use only applies when using content in certain instances: schoolwork and education, news reporting, criticizing or commenting, and comedy or parody. Specific guidelines, what we call the 4 points of fair use, must also be followed. First, you can only use a small amount of the work. Second, you have to add new meaning to the work to make it original. Third, you need to rework it and use it in a totally different way. Finally, you have to use it for nonprofit purposes. In other words, you can't make money off of your new creation. No matter what, it's a good idea to give credit to the creator of the work you use. It's just a sign of respect. So what should you do if you find something online that you want to use? As a rule of thumb, check who owns it, get permission to use it, give credit to the creator, buy it if necessary, and use it responsibly, which means judging for fair use. You're a creator, innovator, and inspirer. Think twice about your rights and responsibilities in our online culture, and then pay it forward.
So, can you use copyrighted work as your original idea? Why or why not? So in our art classroom, we want to talk about what integrity and copyright look like. So since we just finished a little bit about copyright, I want to start there. Copyright is protected property. It's intellectual property. And even if somebody hasn't paid a lawyer to go and actually file a copyright, anything you find on the internet, you have to assume that it is owned by somebody else. It belongs to somebody else as their intellectual property. And whenever we use that in our artwork, then we're not making our artwork original. So an example of this would be, let's say you want to draw a giraffe, but you actually haven't seen a giraffe. If you were to go to the internet and find a wildlife photographer's picture of a giraffe, that is that photographer's actual artwork. They came up with the composition, they went out, they've taken lessons in photography, they may have adjusted the light, done a lot of different things to make that photograph look just right. And if you copied that photograph in your drawing, even though you've done the drawing, you would be infringing on their intellectual property. So here's how you get around that. Let's say you want to know how to draw a giraffe. You have a couple of options. One, you go to a zoo and actually sit down and observe the giraffe and draw one. 2, while at a zoo, someplace where you can see a giraffe, you take pictures of the giraffe, then you can work from a picture that you've taken. Or 3, you use that professional photographer's picture of a giraffe and you practice drawing it, but it's only practice. You can't use that practice drawing in your original work. And once you have kind of mastered drawing this giraffe, then when you go to draw it for your own work, you draw it from memory. So that's how you are able to work with something that you're not familiar with and be able to put it into your own work. It's always best to be able to work from direct observation, which means actually seeing an object that you want to draw, or working from direct observation of a picture you took of an object that you want to draw, and just using your imagination. All right, so let's continue here. Doing your own work is a sign of integrity in the art classroom. Doing your best when working in class or at home is also a sign of integrity. Keep in mind, I want to see what you are able to do, not compare you to somebody else. So if you're giving me your best, what I'm going to be looking for is growth from wherever you started. Taking your time. In a given class period, we have 53 minutes. I usually spend a little bit of time introducing what you're doing for the day. That usually leaves you between 45 and 40 minutes to complete and actually work on your assignment. So at the end of a class period, or at the end of the time that you were spending at home, I would expect to see something that looks like you spent 40 to 45 minutes working on it. So take your time. Integrity also is when somebody is asking you for some help, instead of drawing on their paper for them and doing the work for them, you show them how to do that technique on a separate piece of paper. Give them some pointers, but make sure they are doing their own work. I always appreciate people who want to help everybody else out. Just make sure that you're helping them in a way that shows your integrity. When we get to the point of doing critiques, integrity is being kind about critiquing somebody's work. You want to be honest with them and maybe give some pointers or suggestions for some things that you think might improve what they're doing, but be kind. Find a way to word your response to them in a way that is positive and uplifting, and that will be showing integrity. Creating original artwork that may be inspired by something but is so different no one would know is using integrity. And to do that, that means that you are thinking about what is copyright, what belongs to somebody else's intellectual property, and making sure that you're taking the steps to have your artwork be considered original. So, what integrity and correct use of copyright is not. Tracing is not using integrity. Tracing uses somebody else's skills and you are mimicking what they're able to do. It does not show me what you are really able to do. So, in our art classroom, we do not trace. The only exception to that would be if you drew the original piece of artwork and you're tracing your original drawing. In that case, what you're tracing is something you've already created. Using someone else's idea is not using integrity. You want to make sure that you are using your original ideas. Finding images on the internet and using them as your own work or submitting images from the internet as your own work does not exhibit integrity. Submitting assignments that you know were done by someone else is not an example of integrity. So, this is a brief overview of integrity in copyright. I look forward to seeing your artwork this year, and I hope that what I see is a bunch of integrity and use of copyright in your work. And I'm looking forward to seeing your imagination.